This video is going to be brought to you by Honkai Star Rail, the makers of Genshin Impact, which is a free-to-play on mobile and PC and now on PlayStation 5, so make sure to search it up on the PlayStation Store and experience on PS5 with data sync across PC and mobile and PS clients. In just the first 6 months, it's had over 80 million downloads, so you don't want to miss out. Honkai Star Rail provides impeccable animation and music as you travel across different worlds in this space adventure. It's easy to pick up, but it's a highly tactical turn-based RPG that allows you to utilize unique team lineups for the ultimate strategy. You'll enjoy more than 20 playable characters, each with their own personalities and cool backstories, and the semi-open world experience allows you to search for treasure chests, solve puzzles, and even explore the stories of NPCs. There's an endless amount of content to discover. There's a new limited 5-star hero, Jingliu, a legendary female hero who uses sword attack and was a general aboard the Zion Zo. She's a stunning mature woman who usually keeps her eyes covered with a blindfold, but when she removes it, you see her red eyes that reflect the color of blood that she's about to spill. She's equally courageous as she is skilled in combat, but she succumbed to Mara and was considered dead or missing until recently. As a powerful ice destruction DPS character, she transforms after removing her blindfold and leaves behind a massive damage in the process. There's also the 5-star character duo Topaz and Numby. Topaz looks like a cute young girl, but she's actually a director of business, with her business instincts making her the youngest female director of the IPC. She's self-confident, cute, and adorable, and she's inseparable from her pet Numby. Topaz is a fire/hunt character with superior single target damage, and she uses Numby for support. In version 1.4, the main story gets an update that takes it back to Belobog for a brand new story that has 2 new maps of pillar creation and the old weapon testing ground. Sela is also making a comeback in this version, and version 1.4 is kicking off with the Terran Wars, where you can pit your favorite monsters against each other. 10 free gifts are waiting for you. Just log in for 7 days to get 10 free Star Rail passes and use them to draw Jingliu or Topaz. Download the game using my link below and use the redemption code to redeem 50 Stellar Jade. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another set of Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 3 spoilers. And dude, do we have a lot to talk about, including Boruto's Rasengan Uzuhiko being way more overpowered than any of us thought, to a point that we gotta restart the discussion on, has Boruto not just passed Ishiki and Baryon mode Naruto, but also explain why Boruto is clearly on the path of being broken, like the characters that you saw in Samurai 8 Kishimoto's failed manga from a few years ago. We got the strongest implication that Kashin Koji is actually back, and there's so much more to unpack out of these spoilers. Finally, while I have seen the whole chapter, this is not the review. I'm going to cover a few major points I found interesting, and due to copyright, I will not be showing a bunch of scans in this video. The chapter review will be up when the chapter is officially out on the 19th, so 2 days from now. So with that out the way, let's look at these spoilers. So the first thing we have to look at is the fact that Boruto was not bluffing when he told Code that he was going to be able to kill him with the Uzuhiko Rasengan. In fact, Boruto doubles down on this more than once in this chapter on his assertion that this jutsu is indeed a killing jutsu, and he gives Code a chance to make the right decision in order to spare his life. When Code first sees this jutsu, his immediate thought is that Boruto is using a vanishing Rasengan, but Code, as he sees the chakra continuing to build and is growing even denser around Boruto while the wind-like chakra rings are rotating around his body, he realizes that this is a different animal altogether, and Code immediately begins to start going through all his past battles with Boruto to try and get an idea of what it is that this jutsu does. He knows that it's not a regular Rasengan, and he thinks to himself, if this is a variation of the vanishing Rasengan, then Boruto, based on his past actions, would be using this vanishing Rasengan as a sneak attack, which interestingly enough, it actually confirms something that a lot of fans have wondered about Code, which is given that Amato had to look him in his eyes when he removed his limiters. There are people who wondered if Code's eyes had ninja tech in them, because if he did, then he'd be able to see the vanishing Rasengan. Well, based off of his actions here, it's pretty clear that this is not the case, because while the Rasengan is invisible, Code can't see it, and he's beginning to freak out because he doesn't know what the attack that's about to hit him is going to do, but he still operates based off of the conclusion that this is a vanishing compression Rasengan, and we see here that Code miscalculated because he tries to get behind Boruto for a sneak attack, and Boruto basically pays Code no mind, looking as cold and calculated as ever. Even after he had previously said this attack could kill Code, he continues to charge up this new Rasengan, and when Code tries that sneak attack, it fails. Boruto doesn't just dodge the attack, but he simultaneously counters with this new Rasengan, and when Code thinks that he's won by blocking the attack before Boruto could slam this new Rasengan into him, since Rasengan for the most part can't be launched with few exceptions. Code thinks that he's in the clear, but Boruto basically informs him that Code has already lost and that the new jutsu is already halfway done, and it's here that we see Boruto is every bit the genius that Minato, the fourth Hokage, was, which given how many times characters in universe have compared Boruto directly to Minato, it shouldn't come as a shock, but this is one of the best examples of the move hidden behind the move that we've seen in Boruto's manga, and this is one of the best examples of how people trying to downplay Boruto's intelligence. When people compare him to Minato, this shows that you're absolutely full of it. So Code has been hit with this jutsu and he doesn't realize it until he starts seeing the chakra rings around his body, and he's unable to move as a result, and he's never been able to actually hit Boruto because of the effects of the jutsu that has been used. His entire equilibrium has been thrown off balance to a point that he at first thinks that Boruto is dodging his attacks, but surprisingly, it's Damon who tells us as readers what's actually going on, despite Damon never having seen the attack for himself. Just by going off the play-by-play that Ada gives him and Damon's own observation based on what's going on around him, Damon correctly reveals that Boruto's Rasengan has shaken the entire planet itself, and that Code is being hit with the same force that shook that planet, which I'll take it a step further to show you how important this is, because Boruto has compacted and compressed that level of chakra into this new jutsu. He's made a Rasengan, which was already the pinnacle of changing chakra form, a more deadly application of the changing chakra nature form by taking this new Rasengan to a whole nother level, because when energy is compressed down in size, it becomes more dense and it has more force to it, and that's what makes this Rasengan Boruto's using that's invisible that much more impressive than say the compression Rasengan, because you have to look at what Mike Guy told us in Naruto Part 1, which is that you can train your body all you want, but you can't train your insides and your internal organ. And we see Code being attacked from the inside itself by the raw power of this Rasengan, and it's doing visible damage to him. I'll end up doing a more in-depth explanation on the Uzuhiko Rasengan after I see official translations for what's being said in this chapter, because I want to see what the freelancers over at Viz Media have to say in both English and Spanish, since I can read Spanish, because I've spoken to a few translators I know who have helped me out on the channel before, and when this translation came out, they said that depending on which of the lettering systems you can use with Japanese, you're going to get a different explanation for it, which is a reminder, Japanese doesn't use just one alphabet like you see in English and a lot of languages. In Japanese, you have several. You have kanji, you have hiragana, and you have katakana. And Masashi Kishimoto's penchant as a writer is mixing them in all together when he writes his text. He doesn't just use one or the other. He mixes them all in, which is how we get the deranged kanji with the double meanings to a lot of his sentences. One translation says that it's using the word star, saying that Boruto hit Code with the force and rotation of a star, and the other says that it hit him with the power of the planet. It just comes down to how you interpret the text of what's being said, because Japanese doesn't translate verbatim into English. It's a super context heavy language, and just given that the Spanish translations of Boruto have been closer to accurate than what the English translations you see on Viz Media and Manga Plus actually say, I'm going to be very curious to see what the Spanish translation says when the chapter comes out in 2 days. Now, the last two things I do want to talk about is that when Kawaki arrives on the scene, he has Himawari and Team 10 with him, and Boruto shows us as readers that Himawari, that's going to be his Achilles heel, and I think Kawaki knows as much. Boruto, ever since we saw him in this time skip, even when he saw his good friend Sarada, he's never changed his expression. It's been completely deadly and serious. It's been hard to read. Even when Kawaki first arrived on the battlefield, he was still wearing that cold and calculated expression, but the moment he heard Himawari call him by his name, his expression changed and it was for the worse. it softened and there was hurt drawn on Boruto's character. You have to remember that when Himawari speaks to Boruto, she's never called him Boruto or Boruto Uzumaki. She's never called him by his formal name. She's always used the term of endearment when speaking to Boruto, Oni-chan or Big Brother. Hearing her refer to him by his name, it clearly stung Boruto, and I think that it might be a much needed addition to the chapter because it shows that while Boruto himself might be more cold and calculated than before, beneath the surface, there's still a glimpse of that boy who is all smiles and hopeful at the end of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. That Boruto, he's still there somewhere, but he's barely there based off what we've seen. This is a good decision by Kishimoto to humanize Boruto's character, and I really think Ikimoto, the guy that's drawing the manga, actually did a good job of catching the subtle changes in Boruto's expression. Now, one final thing I do want to discuss off these spoilers is something that you guys likely clicked on the video for. I might even have used Kashin Koji on the thumbnail. I haven't made my mind up yet, which is that Kashin Koji, he's returned. The last time we saw Kashin Koji, the man was leaking out fluids the way the OnlyFans models leaking after a video shoot, but Kashin Koji, when presented with the choice that Jiraiya had to either stay and die or to live another day by escaping, he defied the fate of his genetics by running away, but he's been nowhere to be seen in this chapter. However, in this chapter, we don't physically see him, but the fact that Boruto's not only using toads, but he's using them in the exact same manner that Boruto has seen Kashin Koji use toads is a big indication that Sasuke wasn't the only one training Boruto during the 3-year time skip. So not only is Boruto's time skip longer than Naruto's, which reminder, it's only a 2.5-year time skip between when Naruto leaves the village and returns back to the village, but Boruto appears to have gotten an additional sensei during this time as well. Boruto is using the toads to spy on Code and track his location, and I love what we're seeing because we're seeing again that this Boruto is setting up several chess moves in advance. Look, I'll be the first one to say that my stance on Kashin Koji being alive, it's definitely changed. I went from originally saying like, yeah, Kashin Koji is alive, we'll see him again, to in the last year, I was saying, hey, I think he's dead. I've lost faith. Kashin Koji fans, including some of my patrons, I totally owe you guys a huge apology because I was clearly not familiar with Kashin Koji's game. Kashin Koji is him if he's alive. Does this mean that Boruto now knows Sage Mode? It's not something we can rule out. And in all honesty, it actually fits into quite a bit of foreshadowing that we have concerning this possibility of Boruto learning Sage Mode. There's enough foreshadowing there that it's actually worth its own video, and I'll probably send that out to an editor once I get finished recording this video and after I get finished recording the Chainsman chapter review. I think that one thing we can take away from this is that base Boruto just on his own with no power boost from Karma, just one-shot Code with the Karma Seal activated, despite Code being a being who, with his limiters removed, is confirmed to have a power level above that of Jigen's own power level, but being weaker than Ishiki. The people who are still overprotective of our heroes, the famed legends Naruto and Sasuke, they're gonna wanna bend over, they're gonna wanna spread those cheeks and say, please be gentle, because base Boruto is, without any reason to doubt, stronger than 6-pass Sage Mode Naruto with the QB Cloak amped on top of it. That Naruto who fought against Jigen and fought against Ishiki, which, reminder, toad slats and fox slits with no orange pigmentation beneath the eyebrows is 6-pass Sage Mode, not true seeking orbs. There's a difference between 6-pass Sage Mode, 6-pass power, and the 6-pass Chakra Seal. You don't need the Chakra Seal to use the other two. I've done a whole short breaking down the differences between each form that you should check out if you're still confused about it. This Boruto's now stronger than Rinnegan Sasuke. He slaps both of them at the same time without using shadow clones and does not get any sauce from his Thunderburger on his chin. And as I've been saying since we learned of Shibai's existence, expect Burial Mode's levels of power to be surpassed during this time skip, and expect Boruto to go down a similar route that Hachimaru from Samurai 8 did, where by the end of the series he's rivaling Zeno from Dragon Ball Super, a being who can destroy an entire timeline in 12 universes simultaneously. The memes, they're no longer going to be can he beat Goku, they're going to be can he beat Boruto. And the only thing more broken than how broken Boruto's going to be is going to be the domain expansions in Jujutsu Kaisen, which you can learn about by watching my Kryptonian Saiyan video you see on the screen right now.